I'm a good lawyer, and I want to win. I killed JT. One of my best friends called me today to tell me that she killed her husband. I'm a savage. Classic. Chanel needs an attorney who's in domestic violence cases. Corey Cash is one trial away from becoming a household name.
People are split whether she is a survivor or a trophy wife who killed her husband in cold blood.
My client will not be posting bail.
What about what's good for Chanel?
I know for a fact that if we don't follow the right plan, we lose.
Well, I suggest you take some of that bass out your voice, homie.
I'm a savage. Classic.
Hey.
My question is for everyone. For the actors, how difficult it is when you have different directors and different episodes? And for Raamla, do you have to create like a blueprint to indicate them, the directors, how they're gonna continue the story? Or there's something that you guys plan before the shooting and before the season starts?
Well, having different directors, it benefits the creative process because they get to put their own spin on it, from their perspective within the bounds of where the show is. We've already created a world. And so, playing within that world, what is it going to look like, from your perspective? And that's what makes working with different directors fun. And there are times, that when a director does come to set and they may have a different pitch that may not fit, what even I feel as a character would have you. And then you just, you have those conversations because ultimately we're all working towards, the same goal and want to make sure we're on the same page and that the show has the right tone and the right voice that's already been set. And so having different directors comes in, it really just adds another level of color. And that's why it's important to work with different directors so that you can get an idea of, another perspective.
I would say that it's so cool to it's like inviting a guest chef into a kitchen, right? It's like the same ingredients, but everybody's flavor is a little bit different, which is cool. Like, for example, the way that Mo has I think Mo has a unique way of being able to pull out comedy in weird moments. You know what I mean? Or you have like Anton that's like telling stories and hearing music at the same time. So it's like, and talking about the way cameras move. So like for me, it's like to be able to learn firsthand from folks. It's almost like being a film student on set by people that are like, yo, this is what we're doing, just so you know. So it's been really special. And I would also say that with the same level of respect, like the camera operators and everybody else really did kind of step up, and everybody was bringing their creativity, which was great. But being able to have such seasoned directors come in and feel like they're part of the family and just kind of continue to hopefully elevate the world that we're aspiring to kind of keep alive, it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's nice to have different voices come in. I mean, we do like kind of a 7-day prep where we have the meetings with directors coming in, and then I do a tone meeting that's like 2.5 hours with the director going through the script and each scene and different moments that are important. And what I like for me, like I don't I'm not writing like camera angles into the script. I'm just kind of like writing the feel of it. I'm specific about the tone that I want, but I love when the director pitches something to me like, okay, I'm thinking I'm gonna start over here and bring the camera in, and I get excited. I'm like, oh, because I didn't have a picture of exactly what it was, and then when we get on set, and then with the actors, there's a great moment in episode 7 in the beginning with the fight, Emayatzy and Jax and Lewis having this fight, and when Lewis says he didn't wear a condom, and Emayatzy just did this take where she just starts laughing, and it wasn't in the script, but watching it, I was like, it was such a genuine response. And just obviously she's amazing, but I like when every element, whether it's the director, actors, like they just really elevate the script and bring a surprise to it. That excites me because I'm like a fan. I'm like, I didn't see that coming, but I feel you, Jax. Yes, I'll be laughing too because I wouldn't believe this either. so that's what's fun. Directors also can bring that energy too, which I love. The writers and we had these conversations about all different types of abuse, and people had various types of abuse that either a friend of theirs or themselves had experienced, and we just realized it's really is something that is sadly ubiquitous, within our community, within a lot of other communities as well. And so the timing is really accidental, because to me it was always timely. It was a story that needed to be told, and for this season, I think what's great is that because we're seeing a lot of this, through Jax's eyes, and she's dealing with not knowing, this is your close friend, and how can you not know that all this stuff is going on? But I feel like that happens often. It happens with abuse, it happens with mental health, people not knowing that, to check on your strong friends, like people not knowing what's really going on. So I felt like it was important to talk about. And honestly, I'm just happy that there's a space now that people are really interested in giving the story room and listening to this, because I didn't know at the time when we were crafting the story. I couldn't have forecasted all the things that would happen in the news. So
I'm thankful that we were able to play out the storyline between Jax and Chanel in a way where we got to see them in the first season. The relationship is close, but it consisted of a lot of jabs between the two of them because of their history. And so then we fast forward to this season, and we get to see that things are much deeper, much heavier than they would have known, and especially for Jax, and we get to see her have to deal with the results of that. And I like that we get to see that, because just like Raamla was saying, you don't know. There have been times when you don't know whether someone is going through a domestic violence issue or a mental health issue, and you wonder, wow, why didn't I see that? So I do think that it's provided us with a great opportunity to have a lot of conversations, for people to have conversations with their families and friends, and conversations that it might not have had before. When I walked on the set that first season, and it really was just all Black everything, down to, the person who did our sound, our sound crew was a Black man, Ron, and a Black woman, Brittany, that I get to see every day, who's putting on my mic, making sure I'm sounding well. That's a job that's almost always a white man, almost always. And this was my first time, having that experience. And you would think that it's just a small thing. This is the person who's putting on your mic, making sure you're time, but it is not. That person, you're very intimate, putting hands in your shirt and all that kind of stuff, And so it created just a sense of just safety and comfort, between she and I. It was a shorthand, while she's doing my mic, I don't have to be looking and making sure she ain't doing too much like I have to do with the white men where they're putting on my mic, that kind of thing. It's just a natural thing, so having a woman and then having a Black woman, I can be working on my lines, or I can just be in my own moment, knowing that I'm okay. It's one less thing I have to worry about. And in a general sense, that's what it created. It was one less thing I had it's really almost making me emotional again, thinking about it, because it's something that does not happen all the time. And yet it's an experience that our peers get to have all the time. It's like, oh, that's what that's like, to just be surrounded by people where you have a shorthand, and it just creates a sense of safety. You can worry about the work, and not have to think about everything and wonder, well, what does she mean by that? Why he say that? You know what I mean? It's just, it just gets me emotional thinking about it, man. It's sad that it has to be such a special experience, and yet I'm so thankful that Raamla fought so hard to make sure that that was the case.